The first weekend of the 2025 men's NCAA tournament is nearly finished, but it's never too early to look ahead to the next round of games, namely the Sweet 16. Half of the men's field advanced to the Sweet 16 on Saturday, with Auburn, Houston, Tennessee, Texas Tech, Purdue, Michigan, BYU and Arkansas winning their respective second-round games. Sweet 16 bracket, updated March Madness schedule for men's 2025 NCAA tournament. Now, only 8 games remain on Sunday to finalize the Sweet 16 bracket. The headliners for Sunday include a meeting between number 1 seed Florida and No. 8 seed UConn, the two-time defending national champion. Elsewhere, number 2 seed Michigan State, led by Tom Izzo, will take on Richard Pitino and number 10 seed New Mexico. Number 4 seed Arizona will take on number 5 Oregon in a meeting of former Pac-12 teams, and No. 2 Alabama will look for a 4th trip to the Sweet 16 under Nate Oates when it plays number 7 St. Mary's. Follow the madness. NCAA men's tournament bracket, scores, schedules, teams and more. Follow along for live predictions for the Sweet 16 as the bracket and schedule are finalized. Sweet 16 predictions. 1. Houston vs. 4. Purdue. Prediction: Houston 69, Purdue 62. This should be a fascinating chess match between the sport's best defense and one of its most efficient offenses. The Cougars, who have won 28 of their past 29 games, should keep their streak rolling and exorcise some of their recent Sweet 16 demons. 3. Texas Tech vs. 10. Arkansas. Prediction: Arkansas 78, Texas Tech 74. Don't let the number 10 seed fool you. The Razorbacks' roster, full of 5-star recruits and prized transfers, has been playing up to its potential for the better part of 2 months now and are hitting their stride. It will be just enough to get by JT Toppin and the Red Raiders. Prediction: Auburn 82, Michigan 70. Dusty May, and an offense built seamlessly around 2 7-footers, has led a remarkable turnaround at Michigan. The Wolverines have reached this point narrowly, though, with 7 of their past 9 wins coming by 3 points or fewer. Whether it's mental toughness from a veteran group or a bit of luck, that run will end against the tournament's number 1 overall seed. Major League Baseball's proper opening day is set for Thursday, March 27, with 14 games starting at 3 p.m. ET. The Los Angeles Dodgers will raise their World Series banner in Chavez Ravine, entering 2025 as the heavy favorites to repeat as champions. Their biggest threats should come from within the National League, with teams like the Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets and San Diego Padres looking to dethrone Los Angeles. Major League Baseball's proper opening day is set for Thursday, March 27, with 14 games starting at 3 p.m. ET. The Los Angeles Dodgers will raise their World Series banner in Chavez Ravine, entering 2025 as the heavy favorites to repeat as champions. Their biggest threats should come from within the National League, with teams like the Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets and San Diego Padres looking to dethrone Los Angeles. American League Preview: Will new-look Yankees get back to World Series? In the NL Central, the Milwaukee Brewers look to continue their division domination, but the Chicago Cubs might have something to say about it after acquiring all-star outfielder Kyle Tucker this winter. Here's a look at every NL team's 3 keys to victory for the upcoming season. Follow every MLB game, latest MLB scores, stats, schedules and standings. National League East. Atlanta Braves. Be at your best come October. The Braves will start the season without Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. as they continue to rehab from season-ending surgeries in 2024. It's important Atlanta give them extended time to ramp up, and then get back into the everyday grind upon their return. The Braves plan to have 2 of the best players in the game at their peak come the heat of the pennant race. Add depth as the season goes on. The bench could be light, but the Braves have a history of making shrewd moves. Last season, for instance, cast-off outfielder Ramon Laureano became an everyday player, batting .296 with 10 home runs in 67 games, helping the Braves reach the playoffs for the 7th year in a row. Signed in the offseason, outfielder Brian De La Cruz could earn playing time and make major contributions after averaging 20 home runs and 73 RBIs over the past 2 years. Don't worry about the Phillies and Mets. MLB's balanced scheduling has resulted in less games against division foes, meaning the Braves shouldn't concern themselves too much with the other co-favorites to win the National League East. Even without the departed left-handed pitcher Max Fried, the Braves probably have the most talented roster in the division when everybody gets healthy. There is room for all three teams in the playoffs like last year, and if Atlanta gets in again, it will pose matchup problems for just about every other team in the NL. Miami Marlins. Alcantara returns to form. The Marlins were without perhaps their best player for all of last season, with ace Sandy Alcantara having Tommy John surgery in October 2023. He was ahead of schedule in his recovery and even faced live hitters last September, but with the team out of playoff contention, it made no sense to have him return to action then. Back on the mound this spring, the 2022 NL Cy Young Award winner has had ample time to get back in the groove, and he's looked good so far. Alcantara is not expected to face any workload restrictions over the course of the season. Edwards sets table. Shortstop Xavier Edwards got a taste of the majors in 2023, but he returned to Miami in the second half of last season and quickly established himself as an integral part of the offense, taking over as the Marlins' leadoff hitter in July. The 2018 first-round pick makes frequent contact and has excellent speed. If he can continue to get on base at a high rate, the Marlins should improve upon their NL worst of 3.93 runs per game. Prospects blossom. Despite 2 playoff appearances in the past 5 seasons, the Marlins are undoubtedly in a rebuilding phase after trading away proven players such as Pablo Lopez, Luis Arraez, Trevor Rogers and Jazz Chisholm for prospects. At some point those prospects need to pan out. It is up to pitcher Ryan Weathers, outfielder Kyle Stowers and third baseman Connor Norby to follow Edwards. Steve Gardner. New York Mets. Top it off. The Mets made the biggest splash of the offseason when they landed Juan Soto on a historic 15-year, $765 million deal. The 26-year-old superstar will be joining forces with NL MVP runner-up Francisco Lindor atop the team's lineup to form one of the most dynamic 1-2 punches in the NL. Both boast the potential to score 100 runs and plate 100 RBIs. Beyond that is where the biggest waves can be made. After signing a 2-year, $54 million deal, can Pete Alonso bounce back after his lowest homer total, 34, of his career? Mark Vientos is looking to build off a transformative season, while Brandon Nimmo has found power at the expense of reaching base at his usual clip. Weather early storm. The club has been hit hard by injuries early in spring training, with Frankie Montas and Francisco Alvarez each expected to be out until at least May. Sean Manaea and Jeff McNeil are also dealing with oblique injuries that will put them on the IL early in 2025. The Mets got off to an ugly start through the first 2 months in 2024 and found themselves 11 games under .500. They played catch-up for the remainder of the season. Find their legs. Kodai Senga, who finished 7th in NL Cy Young voting in 2023, is returning after he worked through shoulder and calf injuries. Clay Holmes is moving from the bullpen to a starting role for the first time since his rookie season in 2018. How will an expanded repertoire and additional workload affect him? Andrew Tredenick, North Jersey. Their better half. No team was more dominant through July than the Phillies, who sent a record 7 players to the All-Star game and rarely had their NL East advantage slip below 6 games. But a listless September and a gut punch of a 3-1 defeat at the hands of the New York Mets in the NL Division Series round set forth a winter of soul-searching. There were nice tucks around the edges, with Jesus Luzardo added to the back of the rotation and Max Kepler enhancing the outfield's offensive production, but the bulk of improvement must of course come from the team's core. Nick of time, while Kyle Schwarber and JT Realmuto are pending free agents, the greater roster overhaul might not occur until after the 2026 season, when Nick Castellanos, Alec Bohm and Taijuan Walker, among others, are eligible for free agency. In the meantime, the Phillies could use a surge in production from their right fielder. Castellanos, 33, saw his ops dip from .788 to .742 and his homers drop from 29 to 23 while replicating his .311 OBP. If he can at the least avoid any further slippage, the Phillies should go a long way toward defending their title. Reliever merry-go-round. Jordan Romano was an all-star in 2022 and 2023, but he tried to pitch through a Baki elbow before having surgery last year. The greater question is how the bullpen, which was so good until the final month and playoffs of last year, lines up in front of him. Gabe Lax. Washington Nationals. Show noticeable progress. The Nationals have been in a rebuilding stage since the 2021 season, which followed their World Series title. General manager Mike Rizzo has rebuilt the franchise from the ground up and it has nudged from 55 wins in 2022 to 71 the past 2 seasons. However, the franchise broke through in 2012 when it showed it was willing to add bigger name veterans to its prospect base. That process hasn't begun with the most recent version of the franchise. It may take a push from the group it has to get the Lerner family to fully buy into another run. Or, after settling a long-standing TV rights dispute with the Orioles, are the Lerners considering selling the team? Growth from cornerstones. Rizzo has assembled high-end pieces such as C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Dylan Cruz and Mackenzie Gore. Abrams has established himself as a highly productive major leaguer over the last 2 seasons, but the other top prospects, including some other young arms like DJ Hers and Cade Cavalli, all may need to take a big step for the team to contend. Get the buzz back. Fans proved in the lead-up to the 2019 title they would come out in large numbers to support a winner and give the Nats a home field advantage. Tangible signs of one past the early stages of the season could bring more energy. A vote of confidence from ownership it is committed to putting more financial resources into another run would also help. National League Central. Chicago Cubs, make the most of Kyle Tucker. The Cubs acquired one of the best players in baseball but he's free agent after this season. An extension with Tucker isn't out of the question for the Cubs, but he could push $400 million on the open market if he has a good year. He was limited by injury to 78 games last season but hit 23 homers with 49 RB as an 8.993 OPS. That was good for a staggering 4.7 WAR. National League Central. Chicago Cubs, make the most of Kyle Tucker. The Cubs acquired one of the best players in baseball but he's free agent after this season. An extension with Tucker isn't out of the question for the Cubs, but he could push $400 million on the open market if he has a good year. He was limited by injury to 78 games last season but hit 23 homers with 49 RB as an 8.993 OPS. That was good for a staggering 4.7 WAR. Sort out the bullpen early. Manager Craig Counsell has some new faces, including 2-time All-Star closer Ryan Presley, acquired in an offseason trade with the Astros. Porter Hodge, 24, should be the primary setup man, coming off a stellar rookie season with a 1.88 ERA in 43 innings. Can he come anywhere close to replicating that? Ryan Brazier and lefty Caleb Thielbar were nice veteran additions, with holdovers Tyson Miller and Nate Pearson also expected to see significant middle-inning work. Stick with Matt Shaw at third. The Cubs' top prospect has been transitioning to third base from middle infield and the organization opened his path to the majors by trading Isaac Paredes and prospect Kevin Smith in the package for Tucker. Shaw, 23, has dealt with an oblique injury that has limited his playing time in spring training but made the roster for the Japan series and will likely be the opening day third baseman. He had a .303 average and .906 OPS in 600 minor league at-bats, with 21 homers and 31 steals in 2024. Matt McClain, the Reds' best player during the 3 months he was on the field as a rookie in 2023, is back healthy and batting second after missing all of last season because of an injury to his non-throwing shoulder. The second baseman is the team's top threat to win a Gold Glove, and if he's even close to as good as he was at the plate in 2023, he'll take on the look of a big-ticket acquisition. Tito Bounce, the Reds wasted no time landing the best available manager, hiring Terry Francona out of retirement in 11 days flat after firing David Bell. The 3-time Manager of the Year and 2-time World Series champion set a palpable tone of high expectations and attention to detail from the first day of camp that continues to resonate into the season. Sneaky rotation depth. The Reds brought back Nick Martinez on a qualifying offer and added Brady Singer in a trade to boost a Hunter Green-led starting staff that was the strength of last year's team. Beyond the experienced first 5, the Reds added veteran free agent lefty Wade Miley, who's expected back on the mound from Tommy John surgery in May. Also, 2023 number 7 overall draft pick Red Loader, who produced a 1.17 ERA in a 6-start debut down the stretch last year, is in the wings for a potential season debut a month or so into the season, as needed. Chase Burns, the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft, might make his presence felt in the big leagues by the end of the season. Milwaukee Brewers. Where is the offense? No longer a Brewer is shortstop Willie Adames, who signed with San Francisco in the offseason. Even though that's just one lost player on offense, that's a lot of production at a key position. Between breakout candidates Joey Ortiz, Garrett Mitchell and Sal Frelick along with mainstays Jackson Chourio, William Contreras and Christian Yelich, is there enough power production to fill Adames' void? Rhys Hoskins remains a key figure in 2025 coming off a pedestrian first year in Milwaukee. Rotation health. The Brewers had to use 17 pitchers as starters in 2024. They improved their rotation depth by signing Jose Quintana and trading for Nestor Cortes, but it's going to be tough to survive that many injuries should they strike again. Brandon Woodruff's form in his return after missing 2024 with shoulder surgery remains a pivotal factor. The Brewers already saw Aaron Ashby and DL Hall go down with injuries early in spring. Finding a closer, the Brewers traded away their second all-league closer in a 3-year span by sending Devin Williams to the Yankees. The bullpen has long been one of the team's top strengths, but who will replace Williams? Can Trevor Megill assume the role seamlessly? Will a dark horse, such as Nick Mears or Joel Payamps, take over? Could it be a prospect, such as the late-blooming Craig Yoho? Or will the Brewers be left with a hole in the 9th inning? Pittsburgh Pirates. Cruise control in center. O'Neal Cruz reached the majors 4 years ago as a rarity, a 6'7" shortstop. Although he showed he had the athleticism for the position, his defense was erratic at best. So with a month to go in the 2024 season, the organization decided to move Cruz to the outfield. The results were encouraging enough to make the switch permanent. The next developmental step is to see if he can cut his strikeout rate, 30.2%, while still maintaining elite exit velocity, 95.5 miles per hour average. Skeens, Jones and find some clones. The Pirates will likely go as far as their young pitching will carry them. That could be pretty far, considering they have the reigning NL Rookie of the Year in Paul Skeens, who posted a 1.96 ERA in his first 23 major league starts. Right behind him, Jared Jones showed flashes of brilliance in his debut season. They could soon be joined in the rotation by prospects Bubba Chandler and Thomas Harrington. All 4 right-handers are 23 or younger. More firepower. The Pirates finished last in the NL in slugging .371, and 14th in on-base percentage .301. After averaging just over 4 runs per game, additional run support for that emerging pitching staff would be rather helpful. Unfortunately, the improvement will mostly have to come from within. Their biggest offensive moves this winter were re-signing DH Andrew McCutchen and adding veteran outfielder Tommy Pham and utility man Adam Frazier. Steve Gardner Street. Louis Cardinals. Smooth transition at first. The big offseason experiment in St. Louis was moving catcher Wilson Contreras out from behind the plate and having him take over at first base for departed free agent Paul Goldschmidt. It's a pretty risky move with the 32-year-old Contreras playing a total of just 11 games at first in his 9-year MLB career. One thing it will do is open up regular playing time for Ivan Herrera, 24. Develop an offensive identity. It's hard to know exactly what to expect from the lineup. It's not overly powerful and not based on speed, with only the Rockies, Braves and Giants stealing fewer bases. The key could be how much Mason Wynn can give the Cardinals from the leadoff spot. Although he said he wants to steal 30 to 40 bases, he has to get on first. Wynn has endured a rough spring, hitting just .102 with 3 walks and no extra base hits in his first 42 plate appearances. Attain franchise stability, the Cardinals seem to be in a period of transition on the field and in the front office. The team's longtime head of baseball operations, John Mozeliak, will be stepping aside at the end of the season and turning control of the front office over to former Red Sox and Rays exec Chaim Bloom. There were hints a roster makeover might begin sooner when they didn't make an offer to Goldschmidt and nearly traded their other veteran cornerstone, third baseman Nolan Arenado. Closer Ryan Helsley could also be on the move.